Hi, I'm Kwemi.
Hi, I'm Sumibola.
Hi, I'm Temilola.
Today we're going to be speaking on the topic building a competitive investments industry in Africa. So we're talking about the fact that yes, there are already investments in tech startups in Africa and the tech ecosystem in Africa, but it's not we're not we can't say it's how it should be, right? Of course, we have foreign investors we're already having that a little bit of purification of local investors, right? So the goal is to to have that system where we have that competitive industry where even from from universities where through R&D, that's research and development, right? We have ready investors that would help move product, that would help move ideas, from the lab to the market. Yes. So what's your thoughts, Temi, on this competitive investment industry in Africa?
Okay, thank you for that. So, I'll start from the fact that we know that in Africa, generally, I believe that Africa is beginning to, you know, quicken its pace with regards to startup development, but we're not there yet.
Yes.
So there are many, there are other African startups. There are some African startups that have begun to um, develop in the startup industry. We have South Africa, we have Mauritius, we have Nigeria, we have Ghana, we have some Kenya, yes, and some other countries, Tunisia,
Egypt, yes.
Egypt also. So we have African countries that have begun to develop, but how about the rest? How about the others? So the others are still lagging behind somewhere, which I believe Africa can still, reach there, get up to that standard. But for now, you would see that a relative problem going on in Africa is that there are not so many investor funding opportunities in Africa, unlike what we have in other parts, in other countries. Yes, so like what we have, yes, in Switzerland, in US,
America,
in America,
yes,
especially in UK.
Yes.
So, and this is like a prevalent factor why development in Africa is going at a very slow pace. Yes. But I believe that if the government or if startups are able to get enough investors for their ideas, right? For their ideas, they can make good products that would
scale.
Yes, that would scale.
Yeah, thank you very much, David. Sumi, what's your take on this?
So just as everyone has said, the startup landscape in Africa, is evolving.
Yeah.
And we're at that stage where new tech startups are rising each day. And one problem they face, which is very crucial, something that we need to look into, is funding.
Yes.
And here in Africa, we don't have as much investors as we do in other countries. And this is a major lack, it's a major problem for, tech startups and, startups, it's a major problem that would derail them really, from thriving.
Yes.
So we know that funding is like that funnel that would help, startups to scale. So not having enough investors would not be a good thing, right? And it's not a good thing for startup development.
Yes.
In Africa at large. So we need to look at how investors, there can be more opportunities for investment in startups. How foreign investment can be heightened, and how even local investors can do better. Yes.
So in addition to that, if I may, in addition to that, Africa also is lagging behind in this place of research and development, R&D.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't have so many companies that are into that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so because of that, most times you would find startups coming up with ideas that are already in the market. So most times you have like a lot of products, the same kind of products in the market. You have you have like in the fintech. Yeah, so in the fintech industry, we have like a lot of them going there. And then you ask yourself a question: is this the only problem that needs to be solved here in Africa?
Yeah, exactly. What about edtech?
Exactly. So there's not so much of diversity. And this is what we need here as a startup in Africa.
That would actually attract investors.
Yes, that would attract
because although the
investors.
fintech industry has attracted investors, the agtech, but not so much. So, as you said, the R&D, that is research and development, is not well developed because these are one of the areas that that would actually help us build that system where foreign investors can come in, even diaspora Africans can come in, because they are seeing ideas that can scale. They are seeing ideas that would actually transform into companies that would actually do well, right? Very, very important. So I really want us to speak about how Africa can get to that place that we can have that competitive ecosystem. Not just words, not just because Africa, we do a lot of talking, we do a lot of all talk, but no action, right? So we need this roadmap that this is what we need to do that will actually transform Africa to that continent where we have a lot of investors, innovators from different parts of the world. They come to jurisdictions like America, Israel, Switzerland, where they have this thriving innovation ecosystem that and then they have this competitive investor system, right? So you see that in America, even the government is involved in investments. They have grants for early stage startups. Then the private sector, there's this competitive investor system. So how can we have that thriving, that competitive investments industry in Africa where that would actually encourage this proliferation of tech startups? What's your take on it?
Okay, so to foster enough competition, right, in the area of investment in tech startups, I believe we need to look into our infrastructure. So, one thing in Africa is lack of good infrastructure. Looking at electricity, the roads and internet connectivity too is a major problem. And we've seen startups fail as a result of that, or lack of infrastructure or good infrastructure in place, electricity issues, internet connectivity. So if we're going to, foster competition, right, in the area of investment, then we need to look at our infrastructure. We need to, make ways on how they can be improved, right? Electricity, things like internet connectivity, the road system, and things that help tech startups thrive. It needs to be well looked into and improved. Also, in the area of regulation, there are many laws, there are many regulations that stifle innovation in a way. Like a lot of laws that are complex to even understand by lawyers, and then there's so much requirements for tech startups.
Legal compliance.
It's a lot. It would be tech startup, in this case, would need to do a lot to comply with the laws.
Yes.
And with that, there are even monetary compliance issues that needs to be looked into. Like the tech startup, for instance, or the startup would need to have some certain kind of money, and that alone is frustrating for an early stage.
So it actually shows that for you to even start a tech startup in Africa, right, you must be rich. So it's not looking like being a starting startup is only for the rich. It's not looking like it's luxury. So even for those that are working, how can they even save up to, because you see some legal compliance requirements just for licensing or processing fee, you're looking at 20 million, you're looking at 2
Yes,
million.
yes.
So even those that are working, how many of them have been
Mhm.
able to save up to 20 million, right?
So with that, we need to like work on our infrastructure and also our regulations to make them a bit simple and encompassing, embracing to bring in tech startups. And with that would, attract foreign investment because they know that even with, things in place, the infrastructure in place, the tech startup will thrive and will scale. So that's
So
my
yes,
point.
it's going to be attractive for investors.
Yes.
So I think what's your take on this?
Okay, so in addition to what Sumi has said so far, the government, okay, in order for tech startups to thrive in Africa, it's important.
In terms of
Yes.
investor competitiveness.
Yes, in terms of investor competitiveness, it's important that there should be government-led programs for innovations.
Mhm.
And I would bring a close look. I want us to take a close look at Israel, for example. So Israel has, the Israeli Innovation Authority.
That's
And
interesting.
this authority is meant to, make sure that innovations thrive. I mean, it's no surprise that Israel is now known as, a startup nation.
Yes, the startup.
Yeah.
Yes, so in
actually.
2013 they had about 1,000 new startups grow, and I began to wonder, how did the startups thrive? How did they grow so fast? So now, while checking that, and I came to find out that Israel has, they have some, like I said, government-led programs for innovation.
Mhm.
They have startup fund. They have the Nufa Ideation Innovation Fund. So they have funds to make sure that startups thrive. Then they also have some other they also have some other programs like that. Then I also would want to add that government should also ensure that they promote collaboration with foreign countries, with foreign entities, foreign
Yeah.
businesses. They should promote collaboration. Tech startups should not be behind. They should bring, at least they should try to bring in, those big entities,
Multinational.
Yes.
Yeah.
foreign investments to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Just that to Africa rather, not only to Nigeria, to
Yeah,
Africa.
Africa.
Yes, to Africa as a whole.
Mhm.
And I believe that this is also going to ensure competitiveness
Yeah.
for startups in
Yes.
Africa.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
So to ask what you said, right? As you said, government, the role of government is so important.
Very
Mhm.
important.
But I think one thing that unfortunately in Africa we don't enjoy that luxury of government being there to help to help elevate a lot of problems,
Yes.
a lot of issues, right? For example, this tech startups, right? So instead of even actually fostering a proliferation of startups, right? Because when we have a proliferation of startups, we have more jobs. It improves the economy, right?
Yes.
It makes Africa an innovative continent.
Yes.
But right now our government and it's just obvious that government is not really ready for this. Because if you look at it in terms of our legislations, our regulations that govern the tech startup space, right? As you said, they stifle innovation. Like it's just built in a way that they just want to stop innovators even before they even start building, right? So I think from my hand, I believe that we need to focus on our private sector, right?
Yeah.
We need a collaboration, especially with universities.
Public-private partnership.
Yes, especially with universities, because that is where we even need to start talking about research and development.
Yes.
Majority of our universities do not really pay attention to research and development, and even when they do, it's not. I don't know why. Maybe because Africa is just starting, right? It's not so much. You can't really feel so much of the impact, right? Just a very few number. Maybe those are lucky enough, right? So there needs to be a lot of focus, especially from the private sector, partnership with the universities for R&D, because from R&D that's when you see ideas, that's when you see problem solving, right?
Yes.
So once we have that kind of, when we see that okay, R&D is prospering their ideas that will scale, you see that we will have more investors, right? Even from within Africa, because whether we like it or not, there are people in Africa that have this money to invest. There are people in Africa that can come together and form VC firms. Then we have diaspora Africans that can actually come together and bring in VC capital, angel investor capital to Africa.
Yes.
So it's not I don't believe that money is actually the issue, right? The issue is just that we just need people to trust the system and come and fund, right?
Yes.
So as I've done in previous videos, I'm actually probably appealing to African diaspora and even those in Africa that if those in Africa that have that means, there are families that have that source of fund, right? That actually do philosophy. You can actually I meant philanthropy. You can actually invest in startups. You can actually form VC firms, angel firms. Go to universities, partner with them, fund ideas, right, and help them start. We have a lot of innovative minds. We have a lot of startups that do not succeed because there's no funding, right? And so we need that investor competitiveness, because it's just what we need. It's one of the things that we need, to create that innovation ecosystem. So I think we've come to the end of today's video, right? So thanks for watching, right? Follow us on all our social media platforms, and we'll see you next time.
We hope you learned something.
Exactly. We hope you learned something. All right.
Bye.